Imagine watching your crops just wither and die from a prolonged summer drought, knowing it will cost you literally 45,000 pounds in regulatory paperwork just to get permission to catch the rain that falls on your own roofs and fields every single winter.
Yeah, it's a staggering reality.
It really is. So welcome to this deep dive. Today, we are opening up the August 2026 issue of Farming Monthly National, specifically issue 346. And for those joining us who cannot physically see or read the magazine, our mission today is to act as your eyes.
Right.
We are meticulously unpacking all of it. The visual storytelling, the layout, the photography, and, the granular financial data embedded in every article and advertisement across its pages.
Yeah, we're basically dissecting a real-time time capsule of an industry's psychological and economic state. Because when you hold a publication like this, the tension between that romanticized ideal of agriculture and the brutal ledger book reality of running a modern farm, it's just baked right into the ink and paper.
It really is. And I'm actually holding the physical copy right now, and the sheer weight of it is substantial. Like, it feels heavy in your hands.
Oh, yeah, it's dense.
And the cover price is £7.95. So that price point right there dictates we are dealing with a premium, highly specialized trade publication,
Absolutely. It's not casual reading.
No, not at all. And the main cover image, it takes up the entire front page. Visually, it is just this masterpiece of pastoral marketing. So let me paint the picture. It's golden hour. We have this glowing, really warm sunset setting the background. And dead center, there's a woman wearing a heavy brown work jacket and a dark safety helmet. She is sitting astride this pristine white Can-Am ATV.
And you have to notice the lighting in that photograph, too.
Oh, yeah.
The ATV's headlights are blazing bright, like they're cutting right through the dusk.
Yeah.
And it casts this highly dramatic, almost cinematic glow on a flock of sheep that are entirely surrounding her.
That really pops.
Yeah. And some of the sheep have dark brown heads. Others are fully white and woolly. And then the background is this series of rolling green wooded hills that are just kind of dipping into the shadows.
It is the absolute romantic ideal of pastoral life, right? Like, it looks peaceful. It looks almost timeless. But if you pull your eyes away from that center image and you look at the text the editors placed flanking that shepherdess, the cognitive dissonance is just immediate.
Oh, it's jarring.
Right at the top margin, we have this headline: Hexacover cuts irrigation reservoir losses.
Right.
And then immediately below that, water management in the dairy spotlight.
See, the photo editor chose tranquility, but the news editor chose survival.
Wow, yeah.
And that layout decision, it frames the central tension of this entire deep dive.
Yeah.
You have the visual promise of the open air and the livestock, and it's clashing directly with the logistical and environmental crises of 2026.
Exactly. And that sheer weight of responsibility, it becomes glaringly obvious when you just turn to the contents page. So for our listeners, let me give you a sort of audio map of this issue to illustrate the scope we're talking about here.
Go for it.
So page 24 is dedicated to arable.
Okay.
Then you jump to page 42 for sprayers. Page 66 covers energy. If you are looking for muck and slurry, that's way back on page 124. Tires sits on page 170. But nestled right there on page 50, sandwiched awkwardly between grain storage and ground care machinery, is an entire section dedicated to mental health and well-being.
Yeah, placing a mental health section squarely alongside slurry management and tire pressure metrics, I mean, that is a stark indicator of exactly where the industry is at right now.
It really makes you wonder about the baseline expectations for anyone entering this field. Given this massive scope from pig units to mental health, does this highlight just how many hats a modern farmer has to wear? I mean, they can't just understand soil health anymore.
No, not even close.
They have to be a mechanical engineer, an agronomist, a corporate accountant, a meteorologist, and somehow maintain the psychological resilience to handle this barrage of uncontrollable variables.
And the physical environment is actively breaking the traditional business model as we speak.
Yeah.
Because the most immediate uncontrollable variable dominating the early pages of this issue is the prolonged dry weather.
Right. So let's get into the mechanics of that fallout. On one of the early pages, there is this very prominent article detailing an emergency financial support rollout by Lloyds Bank and the Bank of Scotland. They are actually deploying specialist agriculture managers to offer tailored, short-term financial lifelines.
Well, we really need to look closely at what they consider a lifeline in this specific context.
Right. So the text specifically lists working capital solutions, overdraft support, loan repayment holidays, and targeted interest rate reductions.
Okay.
And they anchored this with a case study featuring Tom and Samantha Summerfield. They run Keeley Dairies Ltd. Near Newcastle-under-Lyme. The article explicitly states that they worked with Lloyd's to increase their farm's cash flow facility to gain, quote, buying power for essential inputs.
Yeah, buying power for essential inputs. I mean, that is a highly sanitized way of saying they had to borrow money just to keep their animals from starving.
Wow. Put like that, it's dark.
It is. Because when the weather is this dry, the grass simply does not grow.
Right.
And if the grass doesn't grow, your dairy cows have absolutely nothing to graze on. Which means you are forced to buy supplementary livestock feed right in the middle of summer.
Which you normally wouldn't do.
Exactly. You normally rely on the pasture.
Yeah.
So that requires immediate liquidity. Lee Reeves, he's the UK head of agriculture at Lloyd's, he is quoted in the piece saying, British agriculture is vital to food security, and the bank is committed to supporting it.
So, okay, is that just corporate PR? Or is there an actual structural reason a massive retail bank steps in to pause loan repayments like this?
It's fundamental risk management. The agricultural sector is one of the largest consolidated lending sectors on these banks' balance sheets. So if a massive swath of dairy and arable farms default simultaneously because of a single climate event, like a drought.
The banks take a catastrophic hit.
Exactly. The banks take a massive hit, and the national food supply chain just breaks down.
Right.
So offering a repayment holiday isn't charity. It is a calculated move to protect their own collateral.
That makes a lot of sense.
The article also highlights their clean growth financing initiative and something called agriculture transition finance.
What's that?
Essentially, they are actively debt financing the industry's pivot to climate resilience.
Okay.
Because the alternative for these farms is widespread insolvency.
Wow. And this connects directly to a highly stressful warning tucked away later in the livestock section.
Oh yeah, the winter rations piece.
Yes. The magazine is urgently telling farmers to start planning their winter rations right now. In August, they cite the AHDB's Forage for Knowledge report from July 2026. And the data shows that while early first-cut silage was actually better in quality and yield than in 2025, recent grass growth has just completely plummeted.
Right, the pipeline is broken.
Right.
Like, no grass in July means empty silos in December.
Okay, so let's unpack this for a second. It's kind of like running a household where you have to buy your winter groceries in July, but your bank account is dry and your fridge is broken.
That's a perfect analogy.
The foresight required is staggering. Planning winter rations in July under these conditions, it feels like day trading commodities on a lag.
It really does.
You are locking in a massive capital expenditure, expanding your bank overdraft entirely based on a gamble of what the weather and yield will be 6 months from now. And if you guess wrong, you don't just lose margin, your physical assets, the herd they suffer.
Yeah, you are forced to make long-term capital allocation decisions while simultaneously managing a daily liquidity crisis. And what's wild is that the most logical solution to the drought, which is storing winter rain for summer use, that is currently trapped in this unbelievable administrative nightmare.
Oh, the reservoir issue.
Yeah, which the magazine covers extensively in its water management features.
Let's get into that. So, Gavin Lane, he's the president of the CLA, which represents 28,000 farmers. He points out there's a massive disconnect. He notes that farmers are watching their crops die in the bone-dry summer, yet every single winter, immense volumes of rain just pour down across those exact same fields and wash away.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me. From a policy perspective, if the winter rain is just pouring away, why is the government making it so expensive and slow to catch it?
Well, the statistics Lane cites are really the smoking gun here. Across the entire country, only 34 on-farm reservoirs have been built in the last 5 years.
Wait, 34?
34.
For the entire UK agricultural sector, that's nothing.
It is functionally zero when you look at the scale of the crisis. And the magazine breaks down the barrier to entry. And it's basically a two-front war for the farmer.
Right.
First, you have to secure local planning permission just to physically excavate the land.
Okay, standard construction stuff.
Right. But second, and this is the true bottleneck, you have to obtain an abstraction license.
And what exactly does that entail?
Well, this is formal permission from environmental authorities to draw water from a local source. So a river, a stream, or a groundwater aquifer to actually fill your newly dug reservoir.
Okay.
And the article emphasizes a staggering figure. Farmers are spending an average of 45,000 pounds in fees before they even put a single spade in the ground.
Wait, 45,000 pounds before digging a hole.
Yep.
I mean, I can understand the cost of earth-moving equipment and heavy machinery later on, but how on earth does a farmer rack up a 45,000-pound bill just on paperwork and red tape? Where's that money actually going?
It goes into proving a negative, essentially.
Proving a negative.
Yeah. You aren't just filling out a standard form and paying a filing fee. You are personally funding a massive, localized environmental impact assessment.
Ah, I see.
So that 45 grand covers hiring private hydrologists to model the local water table.
Wow.
It covers the drilling of test boreholes to monitor groundwater levels for 12 consecutive months.
A whole year of testing before you can even apply.
Exactly. And it covers ecological surveys to prove that skimming water off winter flood events won't negatively impact downstream flow rates for, protected aquatic species, or that it won't deplete the aquifer for neighboring communities.
Okay, that starts to add up.
Right. And then you add in the specialized legal fees to navigate that entire permitting process, and you hit 45,000 pounds very, very quickly.
So looking at this impartially, we are dealing with a profound clash of priorities here.
Absolutely.
Because the environmental regulations are obviously not arbitrary. They are meticulously designed to protect regional hydrology from being drained by unregulated pumping, which makes sense.
Right. You don't want someone just sucking a river dry.
Exactly. But those exact same protective regulations act as an impenetrable financial wall, preventing the individual farmer from building the infrastructure they absolutely need to adapt to the climate crisis.
It is pure regulatory gridlock.
Yeah.
The water is there in the winter, the need is desperately there in the summer, but the legal mechanism to connect the two costs 45,000 pounds just to initiate. And that is with absolutely no guarantee of approval at the end of it.
That is just brutal. And for an audience accustomed to physical labor, the event description is incredibly tactile. This is not a PowerPoint presentation in a Marriott conference room.
No, they are really managing expectations regarding the terrain in the ad.
They explicitly warn attendees that the showcase involves a 90-minute, 3-kilometer guided trek.
Right.
The route goes up a glen, across a moor, and directly through working fields. The text specifically advises wearing sturdy hiking boots due to steep inclines and potential mud.
Yeah.
And they firmly state the route is inaccessible for pushchairs, wheelchairs, or motorized scooters.
I love that. They are making you walk the physical land to understand the technology being applied to it.
Exactly. And the tech they're showing off is genuinely disruptive. The researchers are demonstrating active peatland restoration, advanced agroforestry techniques, and green hydrogen-powered farming systems.
Green hydrogen is the critical element there.
How so?
Well, they are prototyping a future where a farm generates its own fuel from renewable energy to run heavy machinery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, theoretically decoupling agriculture entirely from global diesel price shocks.
Which would be huge.
Massive. But, there is a massive temporal gap between attending a taster day at a research farm in 2026 and meeting the immediate capital requirements of a working business today.
Right, which brings us squarely to the marketplace.
The ads.
The ads. For our listeners who cannot see the glossy pages of this magazine, we are now going to walk you through the heavy metal reality of the advertisements. We are going to detail the visuals, the exact financial offers, and the specific copy designed to get a farmer to part with their already strained cash flow.
Yeah, and when you look at the construction ads first, you see exactly how the market is responding to that desperation for storage and infrastructure we discussed earlier.
Oh, absolutely. There is this massive half-page spread shared by two competing philosophies of construction: Graham Heath Construction and Concrete Panel Systems.
Let's break those down.
Okay, let's paint the picture of the top half first, which is Graham Heath. It is a wide-angle, high-resolution photograph looking straight down the center aisle of a newly erected agricultural building.
Okay.
The skeleton of the structure is this massive steel frame painted a deep industrial green. The corrugated roof is fully installed, but the sides are entirely open to the elements.
Ah, okay.
Inside, stacked with just mathematical precision, are rows of round hay bales. The sky behind the structure is this vibrant, cloudless blue. The font is bold white and red, just screaming innovative steel structures.
Very subtle.
Right. They feature a prominent QR code and proudly stamp Made in Britain on the ad. But the real service they provide to the reader is transparency. They list exact starting prices right in the copy.
You don't always see.
No, you don't. So a 1,500-ton grain store measuring 120 feet by 60 feet by 25 feet starts from 84,000 pounds.
Okay.
A 1,000-ton grain store starts from 55,000 pounds. And a straw shed, 100 by 50 by 21 feet, starts from 28,000 pounds.
Notice how they are fundamentally selling volume and airspace.
Airspace, right.
Yeah. An 84,000-pound grain store is a generational capital expenditure. You are buying the ability to hold your harvest and wait for commodity prices to rise, rather than being forced to sell immediately at harvest when prices are traditionally at their lowest.
That makes sense. It's an investment in market timing as much as storage.
Exactly.
Now, the bottom half of the page is concrete panel systems. And visually, it is a stark contrast. There is no open, airy building here. The photograph features these massive, incredibly dense, precast concrete panels just stacked heavily on top of each other in a storage yard.
Very industrial.
Very. There are large green trees softly out of focus in the background, contrasting with that brutalist gray concrete. Their text reads, "Engineered for strength." And they also feature the Made in Britain logo and a QR code.
Yeah, so they aren't selling airspace like Graham Heath. They are selling immovable permanence.
Yeah.
Concrete panels are used for bunker silos and retaining walls. These are structures designed to take the immense lateral pressure of thousands of tons of wet silage or grain pressing against them.
So while the construction ads are straightforward about their, five-figure price tags, the vehicle advertisements take a completely different psychological approach.
Oh, it's night and day.
The finance deals they are pushing are highly aggressive, specifically tailored to the cash flow anxiety we unpacked earlier.
Let's analyze the automotive pitch then. What are they leading with?
We'll start with Can-Am. This ad spans a full page, and the photography is stunning.
Okay, set the scene.
We are looking at a jet black Can-Am Traxxter Max HD 11T. It's an imposing multi-passenger utility vehicle. The setting is a rough, sandy dirt trail right on the edge of a dense, dark green pine forest. And in the immediate foreground, intentionally blurred out of focus, is the tailgate of an unseen vehicle loaded with golden hay bales, which drives your eye right back to the Can-Am in focus.
Clever photography.
Very. The doors are flung open, revealing this rugged utilitarian interior. And fitted to the cargo bed is a heavy-duty rack holding wooden-handled tools like shovels and axes.
So the visual narrative is purely about capability and rugged self-reliance. What data are they using to back up that image?
Well, the copy reads, some call it premium, we call it standard, made for difficult conditions, and they hit you with the specs immediately.
Right.
A 95 horsepower Rotax engine, a 454 kilogram cargo box capacity, and a 1,111 kilogram towing capacity.
That's a serious machine. But what's the financial hook?
The financial hook is buried at the bottom. They are offering a 5% discount specifically targeted at NFU, which is the National Farmers Union members.
Okay.
This applies to the suggested retail price, excluding VAT and transport on Can-Am Traxxter and Outlander models from model year 2023 onwards. But here's the crucial fine print.
Okay.
It explicitly excludes their electric models, and this 5% offer is valid all the way until January 31st, 2027.
Oh, that is fascinating. Locking in a discount for NFU members until 2027 exclusively on internal combustion engines.
Yeah.
That tells you exactly what they think of the near-term adoption rate for EV utility vehicles on actual working farms.
Right.
They know their market wants proven fuel-based torque. They aren't ready to gamble on battery life when hauling a ton of feed in the mud.
Exactly. Now, if Can-Am is selling rugged utility, Volkswagen is selling financial relief.
Let's hear it.
There is a prominent offer for the VW T-Roc model. They are offering a 0% APR Solutions personal contract plan, a PCP, for up to 24 months. And the absolute key detail, heavily emphasized in the ad, there is no minimum deposit required.
Wow.
Yeah. This offer runs until September 30th.
We really have to look at the mechanics of a 0% APR with zero deposit in this specific economic context.
Please do, because it sounds almost too good to be true.
Well, a personal contract plan means you aren't actually buying the car outright.
Right.
You are essentially financing the depreciation of the vehicle over those 24 months. And then there's a massive balloon payment at the end if you actually want to keep it.
Which keeps the monthly payments incredibly low during that 2-year window.
Exactly. So for a demographic that is currently maxing out overdrafts just to buy supplementary cattle feed because of the drought, the offer of a brand new vehicle with zero cash up front and zero interest for 2 years, I mean, that is a profoundly powerful lure.
Yeah, I can see that.
It solves an immediate mobility need without draining any of their current working capital.
It's totally tailored to that cash flow anxiety. Now, Dacia takes a slightly different approach. They run what looks almost like a press release styled as an advertisement.
Oh, I've seen those. What does it say?
The bold headline is, "Pay less, go further." Dacia lowers Duster and Bigster Hybrid 155 prices.
Straight to the point.
Very. And they quote Lena Ribeiro, the Dacia brand director for the UK, directly in the copy. She says, "At a time when people are watching what they spend, cutting prices by this much makes a real difference."
Yeah.
And they are heavily pushing this everyday Explorer event. If you order a Duster by August 24, 2026, and register it by September 30th, you get an additional £1,000 off the newly lowered price.
So unlike VW's finance maneuver with the PCP, Dacia is just leaning into outright price reduction on hybrid technology.
Yeah.
Ribeiro's quote actively acknowledges the economic squeeze the readers are enduring. They are positioning the hybrid SUV not as a luxury purchase, but as the financially prudent fuel-saving choice.
Absolutely. Finally, we have the POER ad for the new PWare 300 pickup truck. Visually, it is the most aggressive ad in the entire magazine.
Hate the picture.
We see two gleaming pickup trucks. One is bright cherry red, the other is a deep metallic blue. They are parked on a rough gray gravel surface right at the bottom of a rugged, sheer rock quarry.
Setting the tough guy tone.
Exactly. Storm clouds are gathering ominously above them. The tagline takes up a full third of the page in massive block white letters. Get a truckload more.
It relies on classic heavy-duty automotive tropes. But, let's connect this back to the actual operation of the farm. Because once you actually purchase that 84,000-pound grain store, or sign the 0 per thousand PCP on the vehicle, or buy the 30,000-pound pickup truck, the editorial content of the magazine immediately shifts to the reality of maintaining and protecting those massive capital investments.
Right, because the liability doesn't end at the point of purchase.
Exactly.
Let's look at maintenance first. There is a highly visual, incredibly practical infographic about crop sprayers.
Oh, the green and blue one.
Yes, exactly. It's split horizontally, bright line green on the top half, deep navy blue on the bottom. The headline reads, 5 common reasons why sprayers fail an inspection.
Right.
So, for the listener, here's the exact checklist from the graphic so you can mentally check them off. Number 1, worn nozzles. Number 2, leaks. Number 3, damaged hoses. Number 4, faulty pressure gauges. And number 5, missing guards.
Okay, so listing the faults is one thing, but understanding the physical mechanics behind why they matter is crucial.
Right.
Take worn nozzles, for instance.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how much damage can a slightly worn piece of plastic actually do?
It is massive. It's not just a dripping pipe, right? It is about the fundamental physics of the spray pattern. Modern agricultural chemicals are incredibly expensive.
Sure.
Sometimes hundreds of pounds per barrel. Now, a fungicide needs a very specific droplet size to properly adhere to the surface tension of a crop leaf.
Okay.
If a nozzle wears down by even a fraction of a millimeter due to abrasive chemical flow over time, the droplet size increases.
I see.
And those oversized droplets, they hit the leaf, they're too heavy, and they immediately roll off into the soil.
So it's useless.
You end up wasting wildly expensive chemicals, polluting the groundwater, and completely failing to protect the crop from the disease vector you were spraying for in the first place.
That makes total sense. It's literally money down the drain.
What about a faulty pressure gauge?
Same principle, but almost worse. A pressure gauge suffering from calibration drift means the operator sitting in the cab thinks they're applying the chemical at the legally mandated rate.
But if the gauge is off, they might actually be over-applying by, say, 15%. Now, spread that 15% error over thousands of acres.
Wow.
That is a catastrophic waste of input capital and a massive regulatory compliance risk.
So maintenance is really about precision economics as much as keeping things running.
Absolutely.
But protecting the asset from sheer theft is an even darker reality, and that's covered in the asset security and agriculture section. Agricultural machinery theft is a multi-million-pound criminal enterprise.
It's organized crime, basically.
It is. The magazine details how tracking technology has evolved far beyond just, putting a blinking dot on a map on a web browser. The latest tech can pinpoint stolen equipment down to an accuracy of 1 meter, even when the machine is hidden inside a closed metal-roofed garage.
And the emphasis the article places on that 1 meter metric, it's not just a technological flex from the manufacturer.
No.
No, it's a vital legal threshold.
I was struck by that specificity in the text. Why does the difference between, say, a 10-meter accuracy and a 1-meter accuracy matter so much when you are just trying to recover a stolen tractor?
It comes down to the legal definition of probable cause for the police.
Okay, explain that.
If a GPS tracker only provides a general radius, say, indicating the signal is coming from somewhere inside a large industrial farm complex with 6 different locked out buildings, law enforcement often cannot secure a search warrant.
Really?
Yeah, because a judge will not grant a warrant to kick down 6 different doors belonging to potentially innocent parties based on a generalized signal radius.
Well, that makes sense.
However, technology that pinpoints the signal down to exactly 1 meter allows the police to point to one specific door on one specific shed. It provides the exact precision required to establish probable cause, secure the warrant, and legally enter the premises to get your tractor back.
The technology is literally physically greasing the wheels of the judicial process. That's wild. And there is a massive immediate financial incentive to install this tier of technology, which is entirely separate from the hope of recovering stolen goods. The article lays out the NFU mutual insurance discount structure, and the math is highly compelling.
Break down the exact percentages they're offering, because this is where it hits the bottom line.
Okay, so if a customer insures their vehicle on an NFU mutual agricultural vehicle policy and installs a Thatcham Category S7 tracker, and the article specifically names the brand ATV Track as an approved example here, they immediately get up to a 10% discount on their insurance policy.
Which is nice, but it gets better.
Right, because the discounts stack. If you also utilize an agricultural and construction security equipment registration marking scheme.
Which involves what? Etching the parts?
Yes, it involves etching unique microscopic identifying marks onto the various mechanical components of the machinery. If you do that, you secure an additional 12.5% discount.
Okay, so you combine those two security measures.
And a farmer is looking at a massive 22.5% reduction on their insurance premiums.
See, when you are calculating the premiums on an entire fleet of combine harvesters, tractors, and utility vehicles worth hundreds of thousands of pounds, a 22.5% reduction represents a substantial amount of working capital retained within the business.
Huge amounts.
And it all circles back to the dominant theme of this issue,
Yeah.
managing cash flow in a high-stress environment.
It really does. But I don't want to conclude our visual and analytical tour of this magazine solely on the bleak notes of financial stress, drought, and rural crime syndicates.
Good call.
Because, tucked near the back of the issue, there is a genuinely inspiring story that highlights the human element of the automotive and agricultural community.
You're talking about the Mission Motorsport feature with Isuzu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Image 13 in our source material. It is a fantastic, vibrant photograph. We are looking at a group of 8 people, men and women, posing together in a wide, sunny, bright, green, grassy field. They are all wearing matching black t-shirts, projecting a really strong sense of team unity. And in the background, softly blurred, you can see the sweeping dark asphalt and red and white safety barriers of a racetrack winding through dense green trees.
Okay, and what about the trucks?
Flanking this group are 2 highly modified Isuzu D-Max Arctic Trucks AT35 pickups. One truck is a brilliant deep blue bearing the license plate Y90DMX. The other is a vibrant, aggressive red with the plate Y100DMX.
They sound intimidating.
They look incredibly tough. They have massively flared wheel arches, huge off-road tires, and heavy-duty light bars mounted on the roofs.
So the visual is very powerful, very strong. But what is the specific narrative behind the deployment of those vehicles? Why are they at a track?
So Isuzu UK partnered with a charity called Mission Motorsport, which serves as the Forces Motorsport charity. Isuzu loaned these 2 specialized trucks to the charity to transport 6 medically retired service veterans on an annual pilgrimage to a private track day at the Nürburgring in Germany. Yeah. The magazine describes it as a recovery motorsport adventure, and the quotes in the article call the experience genuinely life-changing for the veterans involved.
That is incredible. And, it serves as a really necessary reminder that the heavy machinery dominating these pages isn't just about moving dirt or calculating depreciation schedules.
Right.
The industry surrounding these vehicles have the capacity to facilitate profound human connection, community support, and even psychological rehabilitation.
It is a moment of genuine relief and camaraderie amidst an otherwise highly stressful trade publication.
Absolutely.
So if we synthesize our journey through issue 346 of Farming Monthly National, we began with the photo editor's romanticized vision of the shepherdess at sunset.
We did.
But by meticulously reading the fine print, analyzing the layout, and decoding the advertisements, we uncovered an industry wrestling with the existential anxiety of climate-driven drought and severe systemic cash flow shortages.
And we saw how this pressure is simultaneously alleviated and, honestly, aggressively capitalized upon by targeted banking lifelines, 84,000-pound grain stores, and 0% financing deals on hybrid SUVs.
We really unpacked the mechanics of it all, from the 45,000-pound regulatory wall-blocking winter reservoirs to the physics of worn sprayer nozzles, down to the exact 1-meter legal threshold required to execute a police search warrant for stolen property.
The breadth of knowledge required just to survive in this sector is staggering.
It really is.
And it leaves us with a critical question to consider as we wrap up.
What's that?
Well, we just walked through pages pushing heavy automotive discounts to a demographic that we know is simultaneously extending bank overdrafts just to buy winter feed for their cattle in the summer. So, as the changing climate forces the physical act of farming to become exponentially more expensive and heavily regulated, will the future of agricultural survival rely more on a farmer's ability to navigate high-level corporate finance, government permitting, and complex marketing deals than their actual traditional ability to till the soil?
That is a fascinating, complex, and slightly terrifying reality to leave our listeners to mull over. Thank you to everyone for joining us as we acted as your eyes and unpacked the visual and financial realities of this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.